Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for NACVA's YouTube Live event, Tired of Texas. I'm Brien Jones, the Chief Operations Officer and Executive Vice President for the National Association of Certified Valuators and Analysts, NACVA for short. And the purpose of this quick program is to discuss with members of the NACVA who hold our Certified Valuation Analyst, CVA, and Master Analyst in Financial Forensics, MAFF certification, who also happen to be CPAs, about the opportunities that they took advantage of in their practice and their careers to move beyond tax services to specialize in business valuation and litigation consulting. I'm joined by Alina, Rivera, who is a CVA, MAFF, and also Hubert Klein, who holds both credentials as well. Hi, Hubert and Alina.
Hello, Brien.
Hi.
How are you both?
Doing well, thanks.
Yeah. So
Hey, it could
Alina's
be worse. We had no tax season.
right.
That's right.
Yeah. Alina's joining us from the beautiful territory of Puerto Rico. And Hubert, are you in Jersey or in one of your other offices today?
I am in Jersey today, not in New York. I'm in Jersey.
Great. So our audience, hopefully most of them are CPAs. The purpose is to really get a sense from the two of you about your CPA license. And when did you earn the CPA, Alina? And when you did, what kind of things were you initially doing?
Well, I gained my CPA in 2001, a long time ago, when you have to take the four parts at the same time. So I was working in a local firm right after I took the test. At that time, you had to wait 3 months to have the results. But I was recruited by a local firm to do audits. And at that time, I started doing some audit work and some consulting work. I had that opportunity. But since it was during December and the tax season was starting, since it was a local small firm, we needed to provide or volunteer 20 hours to the tax department. So that was my first experience with taxes, with tax work. But the main work was audit.
How about you, Hubert?
Okay, I started quite some time before Alina. I started in 1986. So when I started in the summer. So we were doing tax and accounting work, the end of the year tax work that was residual for the extensions, as well as the summertime audit work, which were the pension audits and some of the financial statements for the current year end at that time. However, I was kind of lucky in the first official tax season for the winter, early months of 1987. I was doing a lot of tax work, but with doing the tax work, there was one of the partners at the firm who did forensic and valuation work, and I got to work with him in addition to working on his tax engagements.
So what was it about, or how did you both, initially working in tax and audit, how did you get into, or what was your first engagement with business valuation or financial litigation?
Well, in my case, they had the need. They do a lot of construction claims in that firms. That was the industry that they worked the most. So they had this huge construction claim that they were working on, and they needed a lot of people to work with that engagement. So that was my first experience with litigation support engagements. And at that time, I discovered that I didn't want to do audit or taxes. It was too boring for me. So that's how I started moving to the consulting side of the business.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it was a little bit different. At that point in time, I was doing a tremendous amount of tax work from 1986 through 1990. And in that period of time, we had a tax law change. Everybody went through the passive losses in real estate, and we're talking about buckets of passive losses. I worked for a partner who did a tremendous amount of partnership returns in real estate ventures. And one of the things there, if there was a change of ownership, if someone died, we had to deal with the 754 step up in basis in the assets. And sometimes the estates were contested. And as a result of contested estates, one of the remedies was to look to secure a buyout in somebody's operating partnership. So was doing the tax work, and as a result of that, the partner working on the engagement was also doing the valuations of the partner's interest at the time. So I got to work with him on them.
So you started in Alina in the construction industry, and Hubert with some buyouts. Was the tax work you did previously relevant and helpful for these initial engagements?
Absolutely. The way I had looked at it as a career is the skill sets that I learned as an accountant in college and early in my career are the same skill sets that I employ today, 33 years later. What happens over time is everything you learned, you kind of hone your abilities on the analysis side and becoming confident in what you're doing to ask the additional questions and the inquiries. But a lot of the work in the evaluation and forensic space, you need a broad-based background in taxes and an understanding of accounting systems to the audit. That's been my experience.
Yes, and I agree with that. Whatever you learn in this industry, it's going to be helpful for other engagement. It doesn't matter which type of engagement, you're going to use those skills that you develop either in audit and taxes or other type of consulting services. Those skills are going to be needed for you to work in business valuation. For example, when in 2012, there was a law passed here in Puerto Rico, an Act 20, a grant. We had a lot of people moving from other countries to Puerto Rico, and we needed to do transfer pricing work. And that's usually taxes. It's part of the tax law. But since with my experience in business valuation is very similar to when you're looking for the compliance side of transfer pricing, you will use your business valuation skills. So in here, I'm the one doing the transfer pricing work for clients. And it's just because of my experience with business valuations.
So what type of practice and areas are you specializing in now, Hubert?
Well, the areas that I specialize in now, I do a lot of complex commercial damage litigation, high-end matrimonial engagements where there's evaluation of an operating business, as well as a lot of forensic procedures for looking for hidden assets or determining income and cash flow analysis for the parties, which you need an accounting analysis background. You also need a tax background because taxes impact the damages calculation, taxes impact the business valuation, and taxes impact a net cash flow analysis to couples looking to separate or divorce.
Alina?
I do a lot of general forensic work, and that includes a lot of fraud investigations and litigation support, either for construction claim. Now this time, I usually work for the owner, that is the government, but I also do a lot of marital dissolution, partnership dissolution, what I have to use to do business valuations for a business that are owned by those two parties involved in the litigation engagement. I also do a lot of business valuations for tax purposes, for IP migration or businesses to move the assets to another country that is Puerto Rico. So I do a lot of that now too.
So how have the certifications, the CVA and the MAFF, benefited your practice? Alina or Hubert?
Go ahead, Alina.
Thank you. Well, in my particular case, the certifications, the accreditations have been very helpful, particularly because in litigation support engagements, when they are looking for an expert to do valuation, they look for someone that had the certification. So in a lot of cases, I had been competing for those engagements with other professionals, and the certification and the trainings have allowed me to win those engagements, not only here in Puerto Rico, but also in the Caribbean, because as part of our network, we had a lot of member firms in the Caribbean that they only do accounting, audit, and taxes. And when they need a business valuation expert or someone that assists them with the litigation engagement, the use of those certifications has been very helpful to be included on those proposals for them to win the engagements.
Okay, and my path to the credentials was somewhat different. I remember reading an article in the Practical Accountant around 1992, 1994, Brian, where they did a full article on the NACVA at the time, about a new organization, new credential. So I did some investigating and did some research the old-fashioned way in the old dial-up internet with the little pings, bong, bong. And I found out about the organization. That's when I said, hey, I want to get involved. I went to the 5-day training course in Baltimore, Maryland. Kevin Yiannopoulos was my instructor. I remember 6 of us piling into a little Buick to go down to watch an Orioles game one night. But I got it early on because there was nobody else in the market at that time. Basically, the people doing this work were either bankers or people in the investment banking, some CPAs. While valuing business has been around forever, valuing businesses as a business was kind of like an ad hoc thing to a lot of other people's practice. And here was an organization that was looking to educate and promote people and provide them with the skills and training. And that's what drew me to the NACVA, to get their credential, to differentiate myself in the marketplace. I'm not only a CPA with all this accounting and tax experience, but I have a very good understanding of business valuation theory, technique, and application. And after joining the association, it's been a whirlwind ride since, because I've met a lot of people. I've been to a lot of conferences. I've been very involved, and it's made me a better professional today. So I chose the organization because at that point in time in my life, it was something that I decided I wanted to do. I started in 86, and by 1996, I kind of figured out I was kind of getting tired of taxes.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the purpose of this conversation with you. The NACVA, to your point, Hubert, was founded in 1991 as a CPA-only organization in the early years. And now the association accredits CPAs and other financial advisors, academicians, and those from industry. For those of you who are joining us, to earn the credential, if you hold the CPA license, you qualify. The criteria are to apply for the certification, the designation, apply for membership. There is a 5-day training program, 45 hours, and the following 7-hour training related to the body of knowledge for business valuation, but also writing a standards compliant report. So 50 plus hours of in-person training. There are 2 examinations for the CVA. One of them is a proctored exam that covers the body of knowledge, and the other is to submit a valuation of a subject company in compliance with industry standards. And so once you complete both of those testing requirements with a lot of instruction and mentoring and study guides and coaching from our team of experts, once you complete those 2 certification criteria, the proctored exam and the case study, you could hold the CVA. It's very achievable. If you can put in about 60 days to 90 days to take the training and to really power through the case study, it's an achievable certification. It is also the only business valuation certification that is accredited by the National Commission for Certifying Agencies, a division of the Institute for Credentialing Excellence, which means a third party has looked at all the operations and testing and requirements and communication, the exam, the body of knowledge, to validate that the certification is has the highest integrity for credentialing in our profession. So it's very high quality credential as well. So Alina, Hubert, for those who are looking or joining us today, what some of the trends that you're seeing in the accounting profession that may impact CPAs just in general, some things you see coming down the pike?
Well, one of the things that we see on a regular basis is the days of the generalists at the regional and larger firms are over. I wouldn't say coming to end, they're pretty much over, and it's more of the era of specialization, and even specialization within the financial forensic professional field, where you used to have people doing valuations and fraud examinations and damages. It's even getting to the point that people are specializing in those areas. In the world of intellectual property, if you're an intellectual property specialist, the lawyers and the attorneys who hire you, the clients that hire you, the companies want you to be an expert in that area and want that to be just really what you do. I do a lot of shareholder divorce or business divorce litigation, and people are happy that I have the valuation and the accounting background, but they want someone who's well versed in business divorce. So a big thing today is specialization within the industry. On the audit and tax side, you're seeing groups break down into smaller groups, and you're starting to see the same thing in financial forensics.
What about you, Alina?
I totally agree with that. Specialization is the way to go now. Even in large accounting firms, you can tell that they are moving not only to the consulting side, because most of us are looking at business development, especially for the consulting side. Audit and taxes is what we did before, and it's still needed. You will still need people doing that, but consulting is the way to grow the business right now. And thinking about that, you will need to specialize in certain areas. Business valuation forensics are very trendy now in certain way, where when we go to colleges and university to talk to students, they now will know what is a forensic accounting. They take courses related to that. That didn't happen before. When I graduated, I just knew about audit and taxes. So that's changing not only in the industry, but also the students and the new professionals know about the different areas where they can develop.
And along those lines, in the specialization and what the kids are doing today, the students in the younger generation, I teach a course on forensic accounting and business valuation at a university here in New Jersey. And it's a course that was added because there was demand from the students to what else is there besides audit and tax?
Right.
And even the younger generation is aware that there's a alternative career path and something other than audit and tax.
For those of you viewing also, in addition to the certification programs for the CVA and the MAFF, we offer a lot of specialized training to what Hubert and Alina are referencing to. Specialty training in marital dissolution, specialty training in fraud examination, specialty training in gift and estate tax, and specialty purposes for business valuation, even in industries. As Alina mentioned, she started in a construction industry, but for, which is a booming industry, at least here in Utah, but probably most across the US, construction, retail, professional service, healthcare. Most every industry needs, and those businesses in those industries has a need for evaluation, and we do offer specialty training in those areas also. So what would be your advice, Hubert and Alina, for someone who's thinking about getting into this valuation space or litigation space? What would be some advice you'd offer to them?
Well, my first piece of advice would be go on the web, look up the NACVA, read all you can about it, and then start asking questions. There's a members directory. You can reach out to Alina and myself if you want to have questions, but you can call the NACVA desk, and the people who answer the phone there will get you a live body within a few seconds of somebody that you can talk to help you better understand or find out as much information as you want. But take that first step, do some research, and you won't be looking back. You'll be happy and saying, I should have done it sooner.
And in our questioning about if they should take any of their certification, I would encourage them to go to any of the trainings. It's going to be an investment in their careers. So they are going to learn a lot, but they are also going to meet a lot of people that specialize also in those areas. And they are going to be friends for the future and professionals that they can reach out whenever they need assistance. Because even when we do a lot of business valuation, there are certain industries or a specific type of valuations that we may not have the experience, and we just reach out to those other CVAs that we have met throughout the years, and everyone it's very helpful all the time. So it's going to be an investment in their careers. Once they go to any training and they know the people, they are going to go back, and I'm very sure they're going to decide to take the CVA or the MAFF.
Right. So crude, old school, but to the point that they're both Alina and Hubert are making, if you go to nacva.com, our homepage, specifically if you're interested in the CVA, /CVA will take you to the details on that certification. But on our homepage, on the left-hand side, you will see a training calendar, a calendar of events. And almost every day of the year, well, that's not a holiday, there is some training going on, whether a live webinar or a live broadcast or a training event in a specific location. We have a lot of continuing professional education, and if you are a CPA needing to renew your CPA license, we have a lot of continuing professional education that qualifies for NASBA CPE that you can use to renew your CPA license. We have introductory training, a 1-hour intro to business valuation, a 1-hour intro to financial litigation. We also have a 10-hour introduction to business valuation, a little deeper dive, which supports the full credentialing program. So if you go to the website, check it out. If you're interested, I'd be happy to offer all of you who shoot me an email 10 hours of CPE at no cost on business valuation, where you can also earn a Certificate of Education Achievement, a CEA. And so if you're interested in any of these programs, please shoot me an email. Any parting words, Alina, Hubert?
Well, I used this a couple weeks ago when I did a presentation with Rebecca. All right. Everything Brien just told you is true. All right. I'm not a paid spokesperson for the NACVA. I am a thoroughly happy member who has gained a lot from this organization and the relationships that I have made with all the people that I have met. I don't view anybody in the organization that I've seen, even people I come against in cases as competitors. We are colleagues, and that's one of the important things. It's a very, very close group of people. And what Brien mentioned, any level of training you want based on your time commitment. We all have lives outside of the office, and we get that. But you can make the commitment and choose the path you want to get to the credential process as slowly, as quickly as you want. But what I do say is I liken this to a polar bear plunge. If you're looking to get out of taxes and go into this, jump into the water. Because if you're just going to put your toe in, I'm going to tell you the water's cold, but jump in and it's fine. So take the plunge.
And I agree with that. Don't think a lot about it. Just take the time to see if this is something that you would like. There is always an opportunity to go back to taxes if you want to. I don't think you're going to be doing that anytime soon. Look at us, but just try it. You're not losing anything. Take your time as for your professional career, and you will remember us. And we are just paying.
Right, and thank you for saying that. The credential is certainly something you can do in your own time. The CPE. Particularly the business valuation course, which is 10 hours where you can earn a CEA. It's something you can do on demand on your own time. So thank you both for joining us, Alina, Hubert, and those of you who joined this YouTube live webcast. Visit the website frequently. See if there's any questions you have about just general training or certification. Certainly shoot me an email if you'd like, or you can call our offices at 800-677-2009 and speak with our member client services team. But thank you for joining us on this Tired of Taxes YouTube event. And Alina, Hubert, thank you so much. We will be doing this social media event pretty regularly. And so stay tuned with the NACVA for all the great things we have coming up in this year. So again, thank you all for joining us.
And good luck. Yeah. Have a great day.
Thanks, Alina.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.